Dude, you're in jail. What happened? Did you get arrested?
Of course I got arrested. Why else would I be here?
Wow, what did you do?
I was putting a scientific idea into practice, and apparently, it's illegal, so here I am.
You were arrested because of science? Hey, that reminds me of what happened to Galileo. We should talk about that.
Fine, we will. But first, how about posting my bail?
Oh, right.
Well, I'm glad to be out of that place. It smelled bad.
So, are we going to talk about the trial of Galileo?
Yeah, sure. We can talk while I catch something to eat. Jail food is terrible, come on.
So, let's talk about the trial of Galileo.
Well, he had been trying to gain support from the Catholic Church to publish a book proving the heliocentric theory. Of course, the Church supported the geocentric theory instead.
Right, but in 1623, a new pope came to power, Urban VIII. He seemed to be favorable to Galileo.
Of course, Galileo traveling to Rome to personally congratulate Urban on winning the papacy didn't hurt either.
True, and due to this friendly relationship, Galileo told Urban about the book he wanted to write proving heliocentrism. Even though Urban was a supporter, he told Galileo to give arguments for both heliocentrism and geocentrism, and not to advocate one over the other. Furthermore, he also wanted his own arguments included, so that the Church would have a voice as well.
Well, that sounds like Urban was giving permission for the book, albeit with restrictions.
Yes, and Galileo published Dialogue in 1632.
Dialogue. That sounds like one boring book.
Actually, Galileo was rather creative in the way he wrote this book. He set it up as a series of conversations between fictional scientists.
Yes, there was a heliocentric scientist named Salviati, an impartial and witty scholar named Sagredo, and a geocentric scientist named Simplicio.
Simplicio makes arguments for geocentrism, but the other two keep refuting them.
Simplicio is made to look like an inept fool. Clearly, Galileo is advocating heliocentrism throughout the book.
I thought the Pope told him he couldn't do that.
He did, but Galileo did it anyway.
To make matters worse, Galileo did include the Pope's own arguments, but he had Simplicio say them.
That doesn't seem too bright. Having the Pope's words come out of the mouth of a fool.
No, it's not, especially when you consider that Simplicio in Italian means simpleton. Galileo probably should have invented another character for the Pope's words.
Many cardinals were furious with Galileo's book and tried to convince Urban that Simplicio was intended to represent him.
Was that really the case?
No, certainly not. Galileo was grateful for Urban's support. The problem was that Urban was catching a lot of grief from some of the cardinals who felt he wasn't doing enough to defend the Church.
On top of this, the Jesuits, who had been great supporters of Galileo, also took offense at what he wrote.
Wow, it sounds like he angered most of the people within the Church that supported him.
He sure did. And just months after the publication of Dialogue, the Pope banned its sale and ordered a special commission to examine it.
What did the commission find?
They reported against Galileo, and he was ordered to stand trial in 1633, on suspicion of heresy.
Stand trial? That reminds me, I'm supposed to be in court today.
Who was that guy?
I don't know. I thought you knew him.
How very strange. But since I'm done eating, let's go somewhere else. Why didn't you drive your car to bail me out? I hate the subway.
Dude, I posted your bail. I wasn't going to waste money on gas too.
Well anyway, Galileo went before a panel of theologians that headed the Inquisition.
That had to be a scary thing. Those were the guys who could torture you silly or order you burned at the stake.
Very true. Especially when they returned a guilty verdict on the 22nd of June. 1633.
Galileo was found guilty of going against church doctrine by promoting the heliocentric theory.
The court required him to abjure, curse, and detest his opinions concerning heliocentrism.
In other words, he had to take back what he said and admit he was wrong.
And of course, we all know what would have happened to him if he refused to do this.
Furthermore, he was sentenced to formal imprisonment. But, on the following day, this was commuted to house arrest for the remainder of his life.
And don't forget, dialogue was banned.
What most people don't realize though, was that the publication of all his works was also banned, including any future writings.
Yes. That action was not made public at the time of the trial.
Did this trial stop Galileo from conducting further work, or from writing?
No. He continued with his studies.
Yes, and in 1638, he had a scientific book published in Holland.
Ah, that makes sense, since Holland was a Protestant country and outside the Catholic Church's control.
Well, we're almost at our stop.
Yeah. I hope I see you tomorrow, unless your wife kills you for getting arrested.